Hello everyone and welcome to Getting Stuff Painted, my bi-weekly give or take update on some things that have been getting painted for the channel for the various games we cover here for the Studio Armies, etc., including hot off the presses some of the newly shown God tier miniatures. Got through them real quick. Some of them, that's half of one star set, but we'll cover that in a second. We're going to start from left to right. I do have to say though, it's not related to painting miniatures, but I just have to celebrate that this arrived today, a month and a half late. But hey, it arrived. Now here's hoping that in the next few days the other half of the Wave 1 releases for the Guardians of the Galaxy arrive so I can do an unboxing, because otherwise it's just sitting there taunting me, as Star-Lord himself might do. Anywho, so the first thing we've got is a big miniature. I showed this off in one of these videos unpainted because I just wanted to show how the larger Batman bases can be slotted into. So this is Ra's al Ghul from the newish League of Assassins release a couple of months ago for the 3rd edition Batman. I did colour his big base, although if/when he appears in a battle report, he will just be, as you see him now, on a small base coming out of the Lazarus pit. Kind of tried to do a little bit of reflection on the sword hilt. Didn't turn out that great. Warp Lightning Contrast is the main colour used here, with a little bit of Gulliman Flesh, Yandan Yellow, and Skeleton Horde, whichever it's called. Basilican Grey on the base, Warp Lightning for the Lazarus Pit liquids and stuff. I'm not too keen on how the cape came out with the creases. I feel like I should have applied it thicker when I did that, but from the front he seems fine. And the big base is just for showing him off, so I wasn't too concerned. Like, it's very sloppy inside there, but his base fits on that, so you can't see it anyway. There's some skulls. There's the assassin offering him the scroll, or whatever it is. Yeah, it looks nice enough. It's slotted inside. Just gotta be careful with the sword is all when you slot it in. I can't do this without moving it in front of me. You kind of got to put him in squint, and then you've got to turn him, because otherwise the sword gets caught on this bit of the rock. But yeah, it looks nice enough, I would say, as the dog tries to get under my camera for some reason. Sora, what are you doing? There's wires and such over there. You're going to back into the camera. It's fine. So, only one Batman miniature, but we do have some other Night Model stuff. We have Gorilla Grodd, who I think technically can still be used in 3rd edition Batman, although I've never seen him being used in it. Mostly just here for the DC miniature game, part of the Legion of Doom box with like Lex Luthor, Joker, Cheetah, etc. He's just been sitting waiting to be done for a while, so I just finally decided to just do it. Basilicanum Grey, Blood Angels Red, Wazdaka Gold or whatever, the gold contrast, I keep forgetting the name of it, I think I'm saying the wrong one. This didn't assemble great. There's a very obvious hinge, probably can't pick it up on the camera, between his cape and his body there. If I had green stuff I would have filled it, but otherwise I think it turned out okay. Next, some old off the press, hot off the presses kind of, one of them is anyway, Marvel Universe Night Models miniatures. So start with the one I don't like. This is Emma Frost. I know nothing about Emma Frost. I don't remember her being in the original cartoon, and that's really the only exposure besides some of the movies, more recent movies, that I have with the X-Men. Didn't read the comics or anything like that, but she's basically like female Professor X. She's got psychic powers, but maybe a bit more malicious. I think she's classed as neutral in the Marvel Universe game rules. So that's Apothecary White, but the Apothecary White contrast looks bad, so did a little bit of, I think that's Space Wolves Grey over the top, trying just to make it look a little better. Not that happy with how this one turned out, but that's the way it goes sometimes. Hit or miss. Then we have Frenemies, Sabretooth. I'm having sudden deja vu that I showed Sabretooth off already, but I may have just showed him off like via a picture on Twitter. Either way, of course I'm having deja vu. I did a painting video on him. That's where my deja vu is coming from. It's been a long week. So I don't need to show off Sabretooth too much, but this is how he has turned out. If you want to see how he was painted, there was a contrast paint video, go over all the colours used. You see it step by step, so there it is. And because I finished Sabretooth, I couldn't not crack out the Wolverine miniature, which when it just had contrast paint on it, did not look good. But then over the whole thing, I did a little bit of Agrax Earthshade just to get into the nooks and crannies of the yellow and the blue. It's Talisar blue and the Yandan yellow. It made a world of difference. This looked awful compared to that before the final wash went on. Did a little bit of wash on Sabretooth as well, actually, on his mane. and some of the orange parts to help pick out the detail. Like just using a little bit of wash over contrast sparingly can definitely add a little bit of depth. He's a very small miniature, incidentally, like compare him to Sabretooth, which is accurate because Wolverine is supposed to be a bit of a shrimp. I think he's like 5'6" or something. It's a nice model, it's very hard to pick out the details because of how small it is, so I struggled with this one a little bit, but I'm actually quite happy with how it came out after Agrax over the top to kind of hide the mistakes, as it were. So we have one miniature from Marvel Crisis Protocol who you've already seen in a battle report, Shuri, who was a pain in the bleep to put together, and not that fun to paint also, because a lot of tiny detail that I just don't have the steady hand to do. As far as putting the Panther gauntlets together, like the bottom part of the gauntlets are not attached, the way I found to do it is have it sitting on your finger, put just a dollop of whatever glue you're using, and then move the hand down onto it like that, and it goes in smoothly. I did that for both hands, and it was the easiest way I could find to do it. Other than that, her hair is slightly misplaced, it's hanging on by a thread. Not the best Marvel Crisis Protocol miniature, I would say, but the colour scheme, it turned out okay, I guess. Could have been better, especially the white face markings for her like, I'm not even sure if they're meant to be tattoos or just markings, but either way, a solid okay for a miniature that is not so great, in my opinion. And last, we have the first miniatures done for God tier, half of the Eternal Glade starter set. This is Nia, her banner, which is a geode, and what are they called? They're called Quartz Lings, I think. So these, I picked these to do first because I like that starter set better, and also because I'm doing these as crystalline creatures, so they were very easy to do. This is Vulpus Pink contrast with a dry brushing of grey cere over the top, a little bit of Agrax in the deep parts, black in the eyes, and then a grass base. So these were quick to do, which is also why I started with them, to try and hurry along and get a God tier test battle on the channel, see how people like it. Not quite as shiny as I would have liked, or as stone-like. Well, I wanted like halfway between crystal and stone, because I wanted it to look like they came out of her banner, like she's summoning them from her banner. So that's the theme I was going with. There's a little bit of flexibility with how you paint the God tier miniatures if you choose to paint them. So that's the kind of theme I went to. She summoned them from this. Whether or not that makes any sense. So here's the God herself, or God wannabe, Nia. So I tried to do a little bit of lighting here with the Vulpus Pink on her staff kind of shining down on her hand, her eyes glowing, like reflecting off of her hood a little bit, which I'm not sure has been getting picked up. Other than that, Militarum Green contrast, the Wazdaka Gold or whatever it's called, normal silver with non oil over the top, and then the base just to put some stones on it, some grass, and that's about it. So you will probably see the other half of the starter set done before you get another full painting update video, because I've only got a few more minions to go, but I didn't want to show them off unfinished, so that's why they're not in this update. But the Eternal Glade starter set should be done real quick. I think I accidentally made her look like an old lady, and I don't think she's meant to be an old lady, I think she's just short, but oh well. Oh, and that's snakebite leather on the straps and her staff as well. So that represents just over 2 weeks of some more painted things over a variety of games. You're definitely going to see a lot more God tier miniatures, I imagine, next update. Probably the Guardians of the Galaxy miniatures, assuming the other half arrive for me. I've been saying that for a while, but at least it's at least half true now, because one of the boxes is sitting right there. I'm not sure about any Batman ones or Marvel Universe. I don't know, I'm kind of going with whatever takes my fancy at the minute. And the God tier miniatures are interesting because they're so large, and they take to contrast well, which is helpful. But anyway, thank you very much for watching this painting update. There will be a painting video for one of the God tier miniatures, I'm not sure which yet, sooner or later. Maybe Grimgut, we'll see. And some battle reports as well, including just a test one-on-one starter set battle for God tier. Kind of try and go through the rules, make sure I've got them right, make sure they're understandable from a viewer perspective, even if you're not familiar with the game. That whole shebang. Anyway, stay safe out there, and I will see you in the future. Stop for now.